Hey everybody, I'm Mark, and this is
Jake Hovis.
okay. And we're doing it. Mark and Jake try to make it. Jake, it's Friday. We got the weekend coming up. What are you up to this weekend?
I'm in north of Detroit, so Waterford Township is the where the club is at. I'm at One Night Stands this weekend. Pretty fun, and unfortunately, I had to get a hotel like 38 minutes away from the club,
Oh,
and the hotel is terrible. So that's where I am right now.
wait, how long in advance did you book it?
The night of, after I got off stage. So
Oh, I see. Oh, you're there now.
I'm there now. Yeah.
You're in the
After I
bad
got
hotel.
Yeah, I had a show last night. I walked off stage, booked my hotel room, and unfortunately, the pickings were pretty slim at that point. So
Yeah. Are you a hotel this evening guy? If you know what I'm saying. We don't want to
yeah,
shout out any brands that
yeah,
aren't
yeah,
sponsoring us yet, but
yeah, yeah. I like. I'm a choice hotel guy. I like.
okay.
So I'm at Comfort Suites or Comfort Inn or whatever.
Okay.
And the only thing I want in a hotel is a microwave and a refrigerator. And this has neither.
Is that
However,
because you're trying to eat healthy?
yeah, I'm trying to do keto stuff, so I brought a bunch of food with me. I brought a bunch of soup. Like I've gotten into soup
Big
recently,
soup guy.
big soup, and I made a bunch of soup at the house. Brought it with me, and I'm like, this is going to be perfect all weekend.
Made the soup. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about it. Are you making this soup in like a crock pot, instant pot? We make it on the stove? What are we doing here?
So my wife will make crock pot soup.
Okay. All right. Rewind. Check the tape, everybody. Did Jake say that he made the soup or did he say that his wife made the soup?
Well, so I brought two varieties of soup.
Okay.
And one, she uses the crock pot. I use the regular pot. So we were actually cooking at the same time.
Okay.
But hers is a lot easier because she's just throwing it in the pot and then walking away.
Yeah.
But
Might
mine,
take longer though.
it takes a lot longer. She did it overnight.
Okay.
And so I made my pot. I call it Tuscan soup. So I went to Olive Garden. My wife had a free dessert to Olive Garden. And so she's like, we want to go to Olive Garden. Let's go to Olive Garden. And I'm keto, right? So how can there's nothing at Olive Garden for me. So I go there and I find there's this one soup that if I avoid the potatoes, I can eat. And that's what I did. And then I just loved that soup so much. I've since made it twice and it's been like 10 days.
Is this one of those things where you like invented the recipe or did you Google like a knockoff recipe of
Yeah,
the
I Googled a knockoff,
okay.
but it's not that complicated. And then I made some severe changes to it.
Okay.
It calls for like potatoes or
These aren't micro adjustments. These are
yeah,
severe changes.
severe changes. I put a ton of pepperoni slices in there. I put a ton of kielbasa, slices of kielbasa. This thing is just meat galore, and it's a lot of it's super keto, really tasty. It tastes almost like a liquefied pizza. It's got kind of that vibe to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess we should probably say who we are. Who are
Yeah.
you, Jake? What are you doing?
I am in Michigan. I'm a comedian, and I'm featuring this weekend at One Night Stands, and
Where do you live?
I live in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Anybody looking for a clean comedian in Louisville, check out Jake Hovis. Big Jake Hovis.
Big Jake Hovis.
Soon to be at the Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival. We should talk about that too. And I'm Mark Masters. I'm out of Denver, Colorado. I run a lot of shows. I also perform quite a bit. Last night, did a fundraiser. We'll probably talk about that in a little bit. And I get all over the place. We'll probably talk about this too. I drove all the way to Virginia recently and back. It was about 3,700 miles. Cool. So how'd the show go? Yeah,
That's way too long. That's way too far. That's like
it was my routing agent or touring agent, whatever, should get fired if I had one. But it's me, so not that great. at planning things. And over 10 days. Like it would be one thing if it was like 30 days and 25 shows, 10 days.
That's way too much. You're averaging close to 400 miles a day.
Yeah.
And
A lot of podcast time.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Okay, so you're at One Night Stands. Tell us about
yeah.
this room. Is it a big one, small one? What is
It's a big room. It's shaped in a good way, and they know how to seat people. So it was a Thursday night. We're not going to have a huge crowd. We're still at the kind of tail end of summer. It's just what it is. And the room seats, they say on the website 300, but there was probably 60. And
good size. Do they seat them well?
they set them really, really good.
Perfect. That's so important.
All at the front, and the people were there to laugh. It was a good time. It was a real good time.
Who are you working with?
It was Chris Newsom.
Okay,
Yeah.
don't know him.
And no, I me neither. He was talking about that he is, what do you call it? He's recording his second dry bar special in maybe a month or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How close are you to Michigan? I am to Michigan, to Detroit. It's early still.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty close to Detroit. So
Okay.
Probably 30-ish minutes from Detroit, maybe a little bit longer than that.
Okay.
The hotel I'm closer to Michigan right now than I am at the club, but yeah.
You mean Detroit? Yeah.
Detroit, yeah. We're all in Michigan.
We're all waking up. Sweet. Cool. And you're there Friday night, Saturday night, so 3-nighter?
Yep.
Cool. What's your plan on Saturday? When are they going to kick you out of the hotel room?
My plan is I have the hotel room all Saturday night, so I don't have to rush home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll do. I know what you're getting at.
How long a drive is it?
It's 6 hours.
Oh yeah, that's too long. You drive on Sunday.
I have done that before. I've done that recently, where you leave the hotel at 12, I guess, noon, and then you kind of waste the afternoon, and then you do your show, and then you drive immediately home. I've done that. That's not super fun. But sometimes you have to get back. I don't have to get back.
Right.
I'm not rushing to get back this weekend. So.
Sure. I don't mind killing time on the road. You get pretty good at it eventually. They're sporting events or movies or museums. There's always like admin work for, you got to plan your next 3,700-mile road trip.
Right. That's right.
You got to send out those avails to that gig that paid me $0.
That's right. That's right. What I like is libraries.
I love a library. Are you kidding me? I didn't know that about you. I'm a big library guy.
Yeah.
In fact, I have an insane library story from last week. I did a show in New Orleans. I drive into New Orleans, and I'm sleeping in my car. Okay. And my plan, like New Orleans is kind of a scary place. If you watch TV or anything, also a fun place, but it seems a little dangerous to sleep in your car. So on the drive in, right as you cross the Mississippi, from Mississippi into Louisiana, I was coming from the east. The night before I was in I was in Hillsborough, North Carolina. So coming from North Carolina, there's a rest area in Mississippi, and I went there to take a nap actually, and it was no overnight parking, big, huge, nice rest area, but no overnights, and that happens sometimes. And then I crossed over into Louisiana, and there was another rest area about 40 minutes outside of New Orleans, and I Googled if you could sleep overnight in those, and it said yes. And so I go into New Orleans, and my plan is to go back out to that rest area. There's a Planet Fitness out there. Like everything's lining up to just stay outside of New Orleans. But then you got to kill time outside of New Orleans. So I'm like, do I go to like Mississippi's got these casinos on the beaches, and do I go do that, or what am I going to do? And then I was talking to a comedian at this show. So I do this show for like 14 people. I get paid $20. I headline. It's a Tuesday night, so you can't expect a lot. and I only did 20 minutes to close out the show. But they paid me $20, which was, I don't know, great. I'm happy for the gig, and I would go back. Thank you. A Comedy Beast, I think it was called. It's a Tuesday nighter at the Howlin' Wolf in New Orleans. And after the show, I was talking to a comedian, and they said, "Oh no, you can probably sleep in your car here. Just go to like a nice neighborhood." And she rattled off a couple neighborhoods, and I went to one that was close to a park. And here's my new go-to move when I'm worried about sleeping in my car: look for the fancy houses. And I found a block that had a Mercedes and a Lexus parked on it.
Nice.
I parked between the Mercedes and the Lexus. Felt pretty good about it. Anyways, where was I going with all this? What was
Library.
What was that?
Library.
Oh, library. Oh, so the next day, I get up like basically at dawn. You don't want to be in your car much more than you need to be. And I'm like 3 blocks from Audubon Park, which is a beautiful park in New Orleans. I go for a nice long run, and I come back all sweaty, break down the car, and then drive to a Planet Fitness that's like, there aren't any Planet Fitnesses in New Orleans proper, but you take like a short bridge ride. It's probably a 20-minute drive. Take a nice shower, get back in my car, and go to the library. Because as I'm sure like free Wi-Fi, you can plug in. There's air conditioning. It's just like it's a homeless man's paradise. It's great in there. And so I'm there for, I don't know, 2.5 hours, and it's time to go get lunch. And I'm done with the work I wanted to get done. And as I'm walking out, it's a pretty small, if anybody's been to New Orleans, there's a small, very fancy library in like a mansion. It's not even really a library. And the craziest thing, when I got there, it's probably, I don't know, let's call it 10 a.m. From 10 to 11, they had some kids event going on. Like libraries are normally quiet. There was like 54-year-olds with, they were like building. They were so loud. You've never, like, they were louder than a construction site. It was insane for an hour. It was crazy. They're throwing things, they're screaming, they're crying. I'm in the adjacent room. Anyways, I'm there for a couple hours. I leave. As I leave, I hold open the door for some woman who's walking in. I go out this like side entrance because I parked in a weird spot. And she's like staring at me intently as she's coming up the steps. I'm like, it like doesn't even really register to me what's going on. And as she gets up to the door, she like, there's a glass pane. She like pauses at the door and she's looking at me. And I'm like, this lady's weird. And then she comes in and she goes, "I was at your comedy show last night. You're the guy from the show, right?" And there were only 14 people in the audience. She was like, I was the woman from Arkansas. Like I had talked to her. It was super bright, so you couldn't see the audience. But
yeah,
like New Orleans is a big city. That is insane.
Are you following me?
Yeah, exactly. So immediately I was like, oh my gosh, will you join my email list? Here's my card. Send me an email. Of course, she didn't email me.
Yeah.
But anyways, crazy library story. Libraries are great. I love it.
Yeah.
Love a good library. There are bad libraries.
Yeah.
There's a whole spectrum, a whole range of libraries.
Yeah. Usually you can find a comfortable seat. That's what I'm always looking for. I don't find the seat inside my car all that comfortable.
Yeah.
And you go to McDonald's or you go to it's always hard plastic, it's whatever, but you find usually a real nice cushy seat.
Yeah, comfortable.
They don't hassle you, and I like to read, so I mean, I feel like I wear glasses. I'm reading. I'm who you're here for. Yeah. I'm your clientele.
I have some more crazy library stories. In Arizona, I go to Arizona pretty regularly. It's not too far a drive from Denver, like 10 or 12 hours. And no big deal. You stop in Albuquerque's 5 hours away, halfway there. You do a show in Albuquerque, you get paid $30, which was the last one I did. What a disaster. Oh my gosh. Don't agree to a door deal, Jake.
Yeah.
And don't trust the booker that ticket sales are fine. I was going to pay for ads, and this booker told me, no, we're doing great, and we're going to get a ton of walk-ups.
Oh, man.
And then we sold it was a 50-50 split, sold $60 in tickets. I got $30. That was brutal. But Again, it's just I'm so grateful for that show. It's no problem. I'm happy to do it because I was driving through and had to break up the drive anyways. Sold a bunch of merch. Anyways, at the libraries in Arizona, I've seen this in multiple libraries. They have gun lockers outside the library and like scary signs that say no firearms allowed in the library. I haven't seen that anywhere else in America. I think in like North Dakota, Montana, they're just allowed, so they don't need they don't need the lockers. But oh, that's crazy. And it is boy, is that air conditioning helpful when you're in Arizona in the summer. It's like 115 degrees outside and 64 in the library. I love it. Yeah, I love a library. Well, what else you want to talk about? What do you got? You got anything?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. So I actually have been kicking around this idea for a while now, and it's the idea of how to measure like comedy progress or comedy success or whatever word we want to use there. And I've come up with a couple of ideas, a couple of metrics. And like, first of all, I think it's only fair to measure yourself against yourself. So we're looking at not how do you compare to other people, because there's subjective, there's luck involved, whatever. But how do you compare it to yourself, and what do you do? So a couple of the things that are kind of come first to mind is, well, how many minutes do you have? Right? Like, okay, I know that I'm better this year than last year because last year I had 20 minutes and this year I have 30 minutes or something like that.
Sure.
And there's some
But
subjective.
at some point, you talk. I'm sure you're far enough along. That you can do an hour, right? You have an hour. Yeah. So you kind of top out. Like in an hour, you just say like an hour. Like I did 65 minutes last weekend in Blacksburg, Virginia, because the feature went short. But like normally, an hour is the most you'll ever do. I mean, some big people go like 90 minutes, but do you actually count beyond that?
No.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm not sure if I love that as a measure.
Well, it's great when you're new.
Yeah.
When you're brand new, you have 3 minutes and then you have 4 minutes.
Yeah.
6 months later, you have 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it's something that you could ask a comedian that's kind of on the, on the ups, or is 2 years in or something like that. And you ask them, how many minutes you have. And if they say 30 minutes, they're lying. And if they say 13, you're like, he probably has 13 or something pretty close to that.
Right.
Like this, being specific like that is a way to know that you're not, just blowing smoke. But the real thing I think I'm trying to push back on, and I might not be able to articulate this great, is this idea of I've been doing it for 6 years. There's a guy, there's a guy at the open mic recently, and he said he wanted to be introduced, which is like, we're at an open mic. What are you doing? He wants to be introduced, and he wants to be introduced as he's been doing it since 2004. I'm like, that's 21 years.
Yeah, what are you doing in an open mic, buddy?
And you're tailored.
Oh man, that's brutal. I worked on this road trip. I did like 8 shows, and I won't say where, but there was a host along the way who had been doing it between 10 and 20. Like I asked them, I won't gender them, after the show, and it just came up like, how long you've been doing comedy. Yep. And when they said some number between 10 and 20 years, I almost fell over. Because I mean, they were fine, but like in my head, I would like to think if you're at like 15 years, I hope you're on. I hope I'm really killing all the time. It's going to be depressing if not.
Exactly. Well, that's
to update the podcast to Mark didn't make it.
That's the thing is, if you compared it to working out or something like that, like I've been working out for 5 years. Well, how many times do you work out? Well, once every 3 months.
Yeah, totally.
But it's been for 5 years. It's like, well,
yeah, and our comedy age also includes the pandemic, which people, for some people they did a lot, some people they did nothing. So I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm 6 years in, but 2 years with a pandemic, so I'd say 4 years.
Yeah,
You
stuff like
know,
that.
yeah, those the year things they're not helpful. And honestly, like a lot of people who have been doing it 10 plus years and you run into at an open mic, whatever, they're pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and so that kind of flies in the face of what I said at the very beginning, to try to compare yourself to yourself, because right now we're comparing us to guys that are not any good. But the
those are my favorite people to compare myself to.
it's way easier. You know who I like to look at? The before picture. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But it is interesting that if you were able to, and I think you're the kind of person that could do this, and I am as well, to measure stage appearances.
Yes.
750, 1200, that could make a difference. And even more specifically, minutes on stage.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Because like I did on this last run, I did a 3-minute open mic and I did 65 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference between those two different appearances. The 3-minute, I wanted to kill myself afterwards. It was so brutal. I did my best material. Yeah. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And then the 65 minutes I was thrilled with and was, it was an okay. It was actually a pretty good set.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Starting out when I started out in Denver, that's how we met. But I started out in Denver, and I was able to hit 3 open mics a Wednesday. You could go to 3 open mics, and Tuesday you could go to 2. And so in the course of a week, I think there was a couple of weeks where I would have over 10 performances for the week, but they were all rinky dink. And yeah, comedy minutes. And so that would be another one that I have kind of bounced around is, okay, it might be unreasonable. You and I might be able to say we have done this many sets. However, most people we recognize cannot do that.
Right.
Even though I did run into one guy recently, and I was talking to this, and he's like, "Today is my 254th set," and I'm like, "I wish you the best. I'm for it." But I think we could count things like how many weekends you've worked in a club, or how many.
Yeah. That's what I was going to drive towards with this. Like when you said that, the way I do it at this point, and I'm 6-7 years in for context for the listeners, I compare myself year over year.
Mm-hmm.
So like I do the same things year over year. Like I might get up at New Faces, which is a competition in Denver. Mm-hmm. And I do that once a year. And, each year I feel different. When I look at the lineup and I'm like, okay, I'm never going to advance in this lineup. And then a couple years later, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of top of the class here. I'm in the top 3 or 4. I got a shooting chance. I do other things. I'll feature at a club for a weekend, and maybe they give me more time. Maybe I sell more merch. But if you can take the same specific experience the next time you go, that is usually a pretty reliable indicator, at least at this point. Like I'm still on the upswing, I would say. I think at some point, and this terrifies me about comedy, I'm going to level out or even go down. I mean, hopefully there's still a lot more up there, but I worry that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, it's funny. So New Faces, I want to talk about that real quick. So my experience, I'm not sure if I've ever even told you my story with New Faces. It was weird because so I was early in comedy when I didn't even know about it before the deadline of signups happened. And so everybody had already signed up. They have the roster filled. It's happening. And I am at this point, I would say 4 months into comedy, but I've been hitting it real hard. And I did improv for years before that. And I learned that there's sometimes dropouts. Some people,
you can sign up on standby.
And so that's what I did. Is the Ben Daly told me like, if you just show up, sometimes you'll get in, and it's happening tomorrow. Like, okay, so have had this information for just a few hours. I show up at Comedy Works, and they were like, "All right, there's 3 of you. There's 1 spot. We're gonna pick like these little mini billiard balls out of a sack to see who gets it." and I got it.
Do
And
you remember who the other 2 people were?
it was Lisa Lane
Okay.
and Lee. I'm blanking on her last
Like,
name.
oh, a woman.
Yeah, a woman named Lee.
Runs Dictopia? Robinson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so both more experienced than me, but that wouldn't be hard to do at this point. And so I pick my ball, I go up there and do my thing, and I make it to the next round, which is fantastic, right?
Yeah,
but I now realize I messed like the first competition I ever did. I had no idea what was going. I didn't realize that it was a big deal. Like it was, I was like, I'm just having a good time. Then in the next round, they had a downtown Comedy Works downtown. They had me go right after Derek's troupe.
Oh my goodness, killer, absolute crusher.
Oh my, he just not hosted. He just performed at the Tonight Show like 2 days ago.
Okay,
second time.
Are you talking about today? Like
yeah.
He was really? Oh, I didn't know this. That's so exciting. I'm gonna watch his set.
Yeah, he did it on Wednesday. He performed at he was at
very cool. August 6th, 2025. Very cool. Way to go, Derek. Love Derek. So excited for him.
But he murders the room so much. I remember standing kind of where I could see part of the audience, and there was people doing the thing where they are half standing up and like leaned over and laughing so hard, and he's only got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He's just killing. And my wife is in the audience and says to herself, she told me later, she's like, I hope Jake's not next.
Oh my goodness.
And so I get up there and I do my stupid little dog jokes, and nothing, it goes nowhere. And Derek ends up winning the whole thing. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well deserved.
That's a crazy story. That's wild. Oh man. Yeah. So I'd say comparing yourself year over year to different things is a good way to look at it. Like, obviously money is one.
That's the thing. So
how much money you make in a year. That also feels like one of these slope things. A lot of graphing in this episode. Get out your TI-81, everybody. But like eventually you're gonna like max out money. And there's also like, you could also take a whole year and be like, look, I want to record an album the year after this. So I'm looking for I'm going to prioritize length of sets over money.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I'm always trying to make as much money as possible, I guess, but I'm also not really maximizing money. Yeah. I would do the worst corporate gigs all the time and none of the fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, so far every year I've made more money than the year before. So it's so I like the metric this year. I'm just saying 2028 mark, don't stress. Eventually you have a really good year and then a year that's not quite as great money wise.
Yeah, that was the kind of crux of the question is money the best way to measure it? And
well, there are different ways to calculate money too. It could be the sum over the year. It could be your highest paying gig.
Yeah.
That would be kind of interesting. Like the first time I ever made $1,000 telling jokes, I about fell over. I laughed all the way to the bank, quite literally. Hopefully nobody's watching this that is considering booking me for thousands of dollars.
That's right.
Please do. I'm worth it. I promise you.
Absolutely. Every penny. Yeah. But the thought is, so I talked about this a little bit with my brother, who's this business minded guy, and it's all about money. I mean, he's just a businessman, and his business is like real estate and whatever. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, you don't ever create anything. You just buy something and sell that same thing, and you might do make improvements, whatever. But you're not like a product developer sort of thing, and like having to, or ultimately an artist. I know he wouldn't think of himself like that, but a lot of comedians kind of think of themselves as an artist, but we really are kind of running a small business that is talking on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Money is a way to measure for sure. I mean, you could also do your like lowest paying gig. Like if you go a whole year without doing a free spot.
Wow.
Because I mean, I like. Do you ever work with somebody or know somebody that like they're to a point in comedy where they can do it.
Yeah.
Like they're funny. They can go into any room
Yep.
and do it, but they don't do it as much as they could. Does that make any sense? Like they turn down a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like they're just like at a point where it's not worth it for me to leave the house for $500.
Yeah.
Which to you and I is like I'll
Yeah.
drive 400 miles for $500 if there's going to be a decent audience.
Yeah.
But there's some people who just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Or there's kind of like there's also like a respect element to it, which I'm also worried about getting. I don't want to be that person at some point that won't do the show for $20. Like, I mean, maybe I will get there and I want to be that person, but right now it's like it's fun. I like telling jokes. I like making people laugh. Also, whoever's thinking about booking me, please don't listen to this part, but I will do it for $20 if I don't have anything else. But there's some people who won't. They just won't do it because on principle, they're like, I've been doing this 15 years. I don't need the gig. And that's like an interesting thing to me because I think we're both in the mindset, let's get on stage as much as humanly possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's get on stage. And if I'm not booked, then let's do it. And there are some times when they'll say, "Hey, can you do this show? It's a showcase and you're going to get $35." It's like, okay, well, why don't we just do a 3-man show? And instead of having these 4 unfunny people, we'll have me and 2 kind of funny people. And then you give me 200. How about we do that? There's a lot of new comedians because new comedians back their way into like, now all of a sudden I'm booking a show. Yay, I get to be a booker. And they want to book everybody and they end up trying to book everybody.
Yeah.
And the shows are bloated. And if anybody starts running the light or if they all start running the light, I did a show where I was the headliner, but it was 2 shows in the one night. And the first show, everybody was just kind of going a little bit over, but it adds up. And then the host kept trying to have a little bit of rapport, and he wasn't just like getting them on, getting them off. And it ended up, instead of having, 30 minutes, I had 18 at the end.
Yeah.
Because we had to turn
that's bad for the show. Your strongest comedian should have a good amount of time at the end so everybody wants to come back. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah. What do you think about fun as a measurement?
Ooh, well,
like that's way more, it's a little more hippy dippy and it's hard to measure, but I think that's so much more important than money when you're not necessarily, paying all your bills with comedy money.
Yeah. Yeah. I think fun is an interesting one because fun to me means one of 2 things. When a comedian in this context says it. So in the first one would be, hey, I got to hang out with some fun people, and it was a blast. And I did a festival, and the festival was super fun. You run the Vail Comedy Festival, which is an absolute blast. It's super fun the whole time. Always got a pin. There it is, Vail Comedy.
We got pins now. New swag. We get new swag every year.
But that, I've told everybody that asks about a festival, I'm like, this is the funnest festival. Is the Vail Comedy Festival. You get to hang out, and during the day, I took long hikes and whatever, and it was super fun. The mountains is a lot of fun. The Lookout Comedy Festival, which is coming up here pretty soon in Chattanooga, has always been really fun. So there's some fun kind of off stage. You go to the seminars, you go to the whatever. The World Series of Comedy can be a lot of fun. The main event is coming up, but the World Series of Comedy is probably most fun because of what you do off stage, not what you do on stage.
Right.
So that's the one measurement of like when you say fun. But the other one would be like, am I crushing? Am I killing? And I am nervous. Like if I said, how many times did I crush last year, or am I crushing more often? Because I have given comedians rides. I remember going from Denver to Colorado Springs with a comedian, and we did our sets, and then we're coming back, and and my wife was with me, and I was about to be like, this is going to be awkward, to her, like, man, I'm sorry. Like that's he's getting back, we're getting back in the car. We're about to go. I'm like, man, I'm sorry. And he's like, man, I crushed. I did awesome. Like, oh, you're just delusional.
Oh, jeez.
I thought you bombed, and you are like, I was the best thing ever. And I don't want to be in that situation where I'm like, I'm
Is that
crushed.
me? Was I driving?
So, yeah, that's that. So fun. That's an interesting one.
I do think fun is something interesting to happen to me on my last day, which was the worst drive of my whole 3,700-mile road trip. I drove from Dallas to Denver. Friday night, I was at Dallas Comedy Club. Saturday, I was in Littleton, which is a suburb of Denver, at a golf course show, which is terrible booking. That's like a 12+ hour drive, and I got to get there. It was a nightmare. But
the golf course gig has got to be during the day, right?
No, it's nighttime. It's not one of those heckling things.
Gotcha.
Although we can talk about that. I just booked my first golf heckling gig. Nice. So I'm in the middle of that drive, though. I'm thinking, where should I go next? Like, what's my next? Which part of the country should I do another one of these 5 to 12 night runs? Which normally, when I'm coming back at the end of those trips, I'm like, get me off the road. I need to do laundry. I got to pay my taxes and get my bills. And I don't want to go. I thank goodness I don't have to go back out again for like 6 months.
Yeah.
But this time I could tell I was having fun because I was already thinking about, how do I make this happen again in a different part of the country?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Like just the, if you had like a survey at the end, like, how did this gig make you feel? That would be a measure of a net promoter score of your satisfaction with the experience. Because there's so many things that go into the fun. There's where they're lodging.
Yep.
Are you in a cool place? Is the audience cool? Do you sell merch? Do you feel respected by the venue and the bookers?
Yep.
Do you do great on stage?
Yes.
Do you invent a new joke out of nowhere, something you thought about on the road? I thought of a new joke. I'm not going to be able to remember it now. I had long drives on the way out to start this run. And on the first or second show, I did a brand new joke in the middle of a long set, and boy, did it bomb. Holy cow. It did terrible. And on stage, I was like, well, you can tell the difference between the stuff I've been doing for years and the stuff I thought of in the car today. I'll clean that up by the end of the run. And I never did the joke again. I was like, I don't really like it. But sometimes you do a brand new joke and it really works. That's exciting and fun. There's so many elements. They give you great food. I'm doing tonight. I'm at Comic Sense Comedy Club in Boulder. And whatever the restaurant bar is called, there's an open tab for the comics, and you get free food. And the food is like, it's not Michelin rated, but it is fancy. It is so nice. So that's another fun measurement. I like fun. I think fun is more fun than money as a measurement.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You just can't get really specific.
Yeah, it is very hippy dippy, like subjective. Boy, I wish I could remember what that joke was that did so poorly.
Yeah, I've done that. That's the thing. I sometimes will.
I'm gonna look it up while you talk for a little bit.
Okay, I'll teach comedy, or I'll talk to comedians and try to punch up their stuff. And there's some guys I've been working with for a while, and that's one of the things I'll say is, if you come up with a joke and you like it, go say it on stage. And then if you didn't even like saying it on stage, Like whether or not it worked or not, I mean, you're probably not going to like it if it didn't work. But it's very rare that a joke will work and you still don't like it. But if you don't like it, that's a good enough reason to say we're done. So
Yeah.
a lot of the things I've done in I've got kind of a rule where if I'm doing a free show, I'm working on some sort of new material, and I'll come up and I'll do some sort of new material, and it I didn't like saying it. So, well, if I don't like saying it and it's not funny, and there I got other things to work on, we're just done with this one. We gave
Right.
it a shot, moving on. So
Totally.
yeah.
Keep talking for I couldn't find it in my notes, but I'm going to the actual transcript of that set.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the transcript of the set. So are
Yeah.
you have it all typed out? You have like some
Well, it like I audio record and then it
uh,
yeah. So
and then
anyways, talk about maybe we were talking about Superman before we started.
right.
Maybe what
Yeah.
were your thoughts on the newest Superman?
The newest Superman. I don't know who the actor is, and I think that's a good thing.
That's funny. I didn't know who it was either. I thought
Yeah.
it might be the guy from White Collar, but then I was like, no, it's not exactly him.
Yeah. I don't know who he is, and I like that. I heard somebody talking about Iron Man years ago, where
Okay.
they were talking about how the Iron Man, which kind of sparked this whole Superman superhero resurgence in the Marvel universe, and it kind of came out of Iron Man, and the director, which is John Favreau, he was talking about, hey,
Wingers.
they've got this new project, this Iron Man project. Who do we want for Iron Man? And the prevailing wisdom at the time was, if we have a superhero, the superhero is the main star. We don't need a star to play the superhero.
Right.
You get a nobody, or
Well, they got Robert Downey Jr. That's not
and
exactly nobody.
which is so they're going against the conventional wisdom, right?
Okay.
Because so they were there was a big pushback against, don't get Robert Downey Jr. And John Favreau was like, no, we need him because there's this redemption arc in Tony Stark, and we need and Robert Downey Jr. has that, and he's got the chops to do this. And it was, in hindsight, was the best play that they ever could do. Like, if you imagine that movie, but with a nobody in Iron Man, it's hard to imagine that would have been the cultural phenomenon that it was with Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
So, I mean, so that's what, going back to Superman, I like that Superman was a nobody. I mean, the people that I recognized in the movie was Lex Luthor and Lois Lane. And,
Okay.
well, I guess
Yeah, Lois Lane was Miss Maisel, right? It
Miss
took me about half
Miss
the
Maisel.
movie to
Yeah,
figure that out. I'm like, I know her. Where do I know her from? And it took me a while to piece
yeah.
that together.
And there was a few other people, like was one of the guys from that used to be on Saturday Night Live, was kind of this side character and that worked at the Daily Planet. And so people that I recognize, but not Superman. That guy, I have no idea who he is.
Okay, so I found it finally. And actually, I didn't find it in my notes because I've been thinking about this joke for like 6 weeks. I think I'm gonna work on it some more. It's basically when you're like shopping for real estate, sometimes frequently these words will be used. Entertainer's dream. You know, they're like, it's got a big kitchen, it's got a patio, you can have 20 of your friends over, and that's a nightmare to me. I don't want to entertain a bunch of people. I specifically do not want this listing that these real estate agents are using these terms that are turning me off from the listing. I want a property with, like, you know, it comes with a guest room bed, which is super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know? It's you know, entertainer's nightmare would be my ideal list. Also, you put a big down payment down, you're not even gonna have the money for the chairs to have people over.
No.
Anyways, the joke was entertainer's dream, not really appealing to me, and it did not do well.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works. Like, I do think that's a good premise,
Yeah.
but it really speaks to, I'd already done 35 minutes of good, well-honed
Yeah.
material. And then I did that like open mic style, just kind of riffing it, never having written anything down. And boy,
Mhm.
did it, you could feel the difference in the room.
Yeah.
It was palpable. But all right, do we have anything else we wanted to talk about? I had some stuff written
Yeah. You
down.
got some stuff on your list.
You ever do you book shows? Do you ever run shows?
It's been probably, I was thinking about it recently. I think it's been about 2 years since I booked a show.
You don't even like book like corporates and you want like an opener and you book
It's
somebody?
interesting. So a guy contacted me recently and he says, hey, he's got some sort of website and he's pushing himself out there. And I like the guy. In my opinion, I think he knows that he's not strong enough to actually, you know, uh, bring it for these shows. He's a little bit of an acquired taste, and but he's a nice guy and he's booking these shows and he's contacted me a few times and his shows a lot of times he'll do the thing that I was talking about earlier where he'll do with one show with 4 or 5 comedians. And he contacted me about doing a show at a prison. And I've never done a show at a prison, but I am 100% on board. You had me at prison. And the and then he was like, okay, it needs to be clean, but who else? Who else? And I'm thinking, how long of a set do they want? I mean, do they want an hour of comedy? Because if it was me and they wanted an hour of comedy, I'm going alone. Like,
Right.
that's it. If they need 90 minutes or they like definitely want to have multiple comedians on for some reason, if that's what they have in their mind. But most of the time, corporate people don't think like that. Like I did a golf course in Dayton, Georgia, which is outside of Chattanooga, and they it was a fun show. They were having comedy night at the golf course, and it was just me. Like they set it up like a comedy club, and they made it look really comedy club like, and it was still just me.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
they,
this is a hill I'll die on though. If you had a competent comedian do 5 minutes ahead of you and then you did 55 minutes,
yes,
100 out of 100 times, that is a better show than you doing 60 minutes.
it is. It 100% would have been. I wasn't in charge of that.
But yeah, and then there's money involved. Like
Yeah,
you're eating out of your own money. But it is better for the comedy to just
yeah,
have somebody set the table, take the bullet, get people, get back to their chairs, get used to laughing, and then maybe come out at the very end and just say, "Give it up one more time for Big Jake Hovis.
yeah, yeah,
Wasn't he the best?" Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
The last show that I booked, I didn't. I wanted to do it a little differently, and I did it this way. I did it shotgun style, so no
sure.
host,
Yep.
and I started and ended the show, and I really liked that.
Yeah.
Then I can be
You're the face of the show
you
at that
face the
point.
show. Hey, here's what's happening, and then they bring on each other, and
Yep.
then I close it out. And I like that. I should do
That's
that.
great. There's some other. Do you know the other words for shotgun? There's some other ones. If
Oh,
people don't know, shotgun is basically where you introduce the next comic. Like the
mm,
Comedy Store does this on the main stage. They usually don't have. They have a host, but the host never comes back out.
mm,
They just each comedian introduces the next comedian.
yeah.
Every time I've been there, at least one comedian is like, "Who's up next again?" at the end of their set. I've heard some other terms for that.
Piggyback.
Piggyback.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, I think it's kind of fun and it doesn't honestly like, especially if you have any more than like 4 comedians,
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense because you're just wasting time
Yeah.
having the host get up there. But
Yeah.
I don't know. There are probably some purists who disagree with that.
Well, I mean, in Cincinnati, they'll do it at their open mics. I mean, I'm talking about the open mics that are at the comedy clubs. So
Okay.
like they're good
Yeah.
open mics. They're not like these terrible ones. And they'll do it there, which I think, kind of makes sense. But in Louisville, we don't do at the comedy club open mics. We have a host, and I think there's just some nervousness of well, what if this guy goes completely off the rails, or what if he completely runs the light? What if he cannot do it? And Cincinnati solves the problem with a God mic. So
Okay.
at Go Bananas, they'll come on the God mic and be like, all right, give it up for this guy. All right, get him off the stage, and next, and introduce the next person. So if you go too long, they'll fix it. But in Louisville, we have the guy come in between everybody. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I mean, they do that at New Talent Night at Comedy Works too. Well, anyways, so I book a lot of shows and I never use agents for bigger comedians. Once a comedian gets big enough, they have a touring agent, a manager, etc. And honestly, I barely know the difference between what an agent and a manager is. So I could be talking about a manager, I could be talking about an agent. I just had another hellish nightmare experience. I've never had a good experience I've had great experiences almost all the time working directly with headliners that are very accomplished. People have been in big movies. People have been on the Tonight Show multiple times, no problems. Every time there's some kind of agent involved, it turns into a nightmare. And I had another nightmare recently. I was trying to book this person, and basically I laid out the terms for the agent. The agent sent me a contract that did not meet the terms I had said. And I responded and said, what is this? This isn't even close to what I said.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of ghosted me for a while. And then I reached out to him and I said, hey, I even went to the trouble of calling them. And it was one of those things where I got the assistant and you could tell the other person was in the room, but they were like, I don't want to talk to him. And the assistant was like, he'll call you back on Monday. It was a Friday. He'll call you back on Monday. And on Monday, I was like, hey, he never called me back. And at the end of the day, I wrote and just said, hey, I didn't hear from you. I'm going to start offering this opportunity to other comedians, and it's going to go immediately.
Yeah.
And then, hours and hours later, I got an email said, no, don't do that. And it was already gone at that point. And then the next day he called me begging me for the gig for his client. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, where are you coming from that you would be a hard ass about all these things and then suddenly be like, this is unfair. What's happening to me? This isn't what we agreed to. Of course, we didn't agree to anything. There's no signed contract, nothing. I made an offer. You came back with something that was completely nonsense. And I just can't stand it. It drives me crazy. But I guess you don't have to deal with that. So
I don't have to deal with guys who think they're big time. No, that's
it's not. I'm sure if I talked to the comedian would be so upset.
No, that's what I mean. Like not the comedians are down to earth. That's the weird thing. I heard this in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. There's an episode where I think it was Seth Rogen was talking to Jerry, and he was saying something along the lines of, Jerry, you're really good at being famous, because he's able to talk to people. And it's like, that's what being a comedian is you're one of us. You still do the normal stuff. I mean, you run into a comedian. I've run into Nate Bargatze. I've run into Dusty Slay, some of these guys, and that are normal guys, and you just talk to them, and I can imagine where an actor would not be a normal guy, but an agent would be like, no, I'm big time. Let's see if I can squeeze this little peon for a little bit more. Let's see if we can do this. Like,
so frustrating. They're the worst. All right, what else? I'm trying to figure out a Christmas party thing, which is wild because it's August, but I'm already booking Christmas party stuff, and it's a real like mind bender.
Yeah,
because I offered an amount, and they came back with like half the amount. Originally, they said yes, and then they said, "Oh, we looked at the budget, and we want to spend like half of that." And so I have to it's like gambling, because it's a Saturday in December.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to take it, but
yeah, I think it's
a thing because I don't want to bail on them later if somebody offers me 4 times as much, which could very well happen.
What could happen on a day like that? On a day, I think it's December 6th. Yeah, I have it top of mind because I know that day is going to be probably the single most day this year that I make the most money. is that one. I
Why
think
do you think that is? You don't think the
because
13th?
maybe the 13th, but I have already seen in the pipeline people looking for comedians for that day. And so
Okay.
I think comedians are already starting to fall.
My Christmas party game isn't like this is a new thing in the
Yeah.
last couple of years.
Yeah.
Are they usually early in the month?
I don't know. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they
Okay.
are. And sometimes here's the fun part: is a lot of times I'll get. I remember last year I got a couple of days where the one of the Christmas parties was at like 4, and the other one was like at 7,
You
and
could
so
double up.
you can double up pretty easy. But that one day I think is going to be a very lucrative day, and so it's easy to sell a whole weekend. For at my level, somebody offers $50 a show for 5 shows, and it's in town. That's hard to say no to.
On any given weekend, or are you talking about a December weekend?
On any given weekend.
Got it. Okay.
But on that December, I probably would say no to something like that. But if
Yeah.
they were like, hey, that's hosting. So at the clubs in town, hosting is $50 a night. And
I had something happen last year where I said no to a $50 spot
hmm,
on a showcase for a local producer on a December weekend night,
hmm,
which was one of the first times I ever said no. And I was very polite. I was like, look, if I'm still available that day, I will do it. It was like 4 months out.
yeah,
I just can't really hold this date.
yeah.
I hope you understand. And I think I said it in a nice enough way. And then like 2 months later, I got offered, I want to say $500 to
Yes.
do a show. And I was like, nailed that one. And I said yes and signed a contract. And then a month later, I got offered $1,000. I was like, no, I blew it.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I am Nostradamus here, trying to predict the future a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I have had 3 inquiries
yeah,
for that date already. Some of
yeah,
them in July. So I think you're right. I think December 6th, 2025 is going to be the big money maker. Let's see. What else? We were going to golf heckling.
oh yeah.
Have you done it?
I have not done it. I've had the opportunity to. So there are some comedy booking websites or comedy booking email lists that I'm on that will be like, hey, we need a comedian for this, and I've put my name in a couple of times. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I am, and so anyway, I was hanging out with my brother, and he was showing me. I think they call it get backs or step backs, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a
Back
term,
off
back
challenge.
off,
They're trying to get the person to
yeah,
back off from hitting the ball.
the back off
Yeah.
challenge. Yeah, yeah, and that's pretty funny. And when they get them to do it, and when they roast them a little bit, that's fun. And I think that would be right up my alley because those aren't devastating roasts. They're not,
No.
they're
And they're
not.
kind of
Yeah,
they're kind of like, I mean, not to stereotype golfers at golf clubs, but they're
yeah,
kind of upper middle class.
yeah,
I don't know. They're a good audience, I
yeah.
think, for our comedy, probably.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking for. I booked my first one, and it's coming up in September, and I'm
Yeah,
excited about it. Doing a golf course here in Colorado,
yeah.
and
You have to tell me how long are you gonna?
oh my God, Jake. So when they told me, I don't know if I can. I'll tell you off air how much I'm getting
Yeah,
paid. But when they told me, I was like, oh, cool, I'm in. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
the next, they told me how much I was getting paid in the date, and I
yeah.
was like, cool. And they said you can do it with a second comic, so you can book another comic for the same amount of money. And so
Mm,
I was like, that's even better because
yep,
I can give somebody some work.
yep.
And then the next day, they told me call time is 7:30 a.m. and you're done at
Ooh,
1:30 p.m.
whew.
So I didn't realize, when I tell you how much money it is, it's no longer that much money.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
used to doing 30 minutes of work,
yeah,
maybe an hour.
yeah.
Now it's like 8 hours of work, or what is that? 5, 6 hours? Pretty pretty brutal. And so the tournament starts at 8:30. So I think from 8:30 to 1:30, which would be 5 hours. And maybe there's some breakdown time. So maybe it goes to like, it's at least 4 hours you're sitting there. But I don't think I've golfed a little bit. There's not people at the tee continuously.
Exactly.
You do like 30 seconds of work or maybe 2 minutes of work, and then you wait 10 minutes before the next group comes up.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I'm going all Carrot Top on this one.
Nice.
I got a rotary telephone that I ran into recently, and I'm like, I'm gonna bring it to the course and be like, hey buddy, TJ Maxx is on the line.
Yeah.
They want your pants back. I got to get a ringer sound. I did a Family Feud gig, and at the end of the gig, I got the buzzers. Like they were just going to throw them away. So I'll probably bring those. Survey says they're those like Brazilian trumpets. They're called like vuzelas or zuvelas or whatever. I might bring some of those. I'm excited about. I already wrote like 50 roasts.
Dude, that's fun. Yeah, I would be down to do something like that. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I've done a golf auction where it was at a golf course and they were like bidding on each other's scores in this weird thing that I didn't quite understand. And that was a lot of fun because I just roasted the crap out of the whole room.
Incredible. All right. So I think we got to wind this down.
Yeah.
We got more stuff to talk about. We can do it next week.
There you go.
What's tonight? You're at the Comedy Club in Michigan. Tonight I'm in Boulder. Anything you want to promote or talk about? I don't know when this might not get out for months.
Yeah.
Until we have like a bank of episodes.
Yeah, I mean, just book me for your corporate gig.
There you go. What's your website?
It's BigJakeComedy.com.
Okay, BigJakeComedy.com. I'm at markmasters.co, like Colorado. Could not afford the .com. Markmasters.co. And Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival is coming up in October, and Jake will be there.
Yep.
And I organize that. And we got incredible headliners. Adam Caton Holland.
Yeah.
Zach Toscani. Did I say that right? Hopefully. And Jenny Zagrino, who I love. So super excited. What are your thoughts on the headliners?
I'm excited. I mean, the Growlix guys, I'm such a fan of because of that. I mean, I like them because they're funny comedians and they're good guys. But the show, Those Who Can't, was I really liked that show, and it was based on it was Colorado high school teachers, and I was watching it while I was a Colorado high school teacher. So I was like,
that's so cool. So. Yeah. That's Adam Caton Holland, Ben Roy, who I did the golf gig this last weekend with, and Andrew. What's Andrew's last name? All I can think of is the guy in Seattle who's an Andrew. Oh well, everybody can Google that. What a way to end.
What a way.
Goodness. You can't end on that. Who's the Andrew in Those Who Can't? It's Andrew Orvidal. So he's the best. He rules.
Yes. Very
okay, awesome. That's been Mark and Jake. Try to make it. Check out Jake and book him for your gigs in Louisville or really anywhere. If you have a private plane, fly him.
Yeah.
You can afford it. It's in your budget.
That's right.
All right. Well, we're figuring this out, and we'll catch you next time, everybody.
Later.